I'm sitting at my own kitchen table on a Thursday morning in November, drinking coffee that's gone cold, and my 20-year-old son is telling me I'm obsolete. Mom's boss is in a different league, Dad, Ethan says, not even looking up from his phone. He owns your competitors. I take another sip. The coffee tastes like metal. Good morning to you too, future philosopher. Julia, my wife, though lately that word feels like a formality, doesn't even glance my way. She's scrolling through her tablet, her manicured nails clicking against the glass. Her nails used to be plain. She used to wear jeans and help me carry server racks up narrow staircases. That was 15 years ago, back when we were building something together, back when my little tech company was just an idea in a cramped office above a laundromat that smelled like detergent and burned coffee. Now she wears Chanel. Now she has late-night strategy sessions at hotels I can't afford. I'm just saying, Ethan continues, finally looking at me with that same expression I've seen on his mother's face lately. Pity mixed with embarrassment. Victor Lang is a visionary. He's transforming retail. You're just maintaining servers. Victor Lang, regional CEO of Copley Retail Group. My wife's boss. The man whose company logo appears in the corner of every system I built, every line of code I wrote, every sleepless night I spent making sure their point-of-sale systems didn't crash during Black Friday. Someone has to maintain the servers, I say quietly. Right, Ethan says. That's exactly my point. Julia finally looks up. Dan, don't start. I didn't start anything. You're doing that thing with your voice. What thing? That passive-aggressive thing. I'm not being passive-aggressive. I'm being regular aggressive, but only in my head, where no one can hear me catalog the little details that have been piling up like evidence in a case I didn't want to prosecute. The new wardrobe, the gym membership she actually uses now, the way she angles her phone away when she texts, the fact that she stopped asking about my day entirely. Last week, I noticed a notification flash across her tablet while she was in the shower. We used to share an Apple ID, one of those married couple conveniences that becomes an inconvenience when you forget to untangle your digital lives. The notification was a booking confirmation. The Gramercy, Executive Suite, 2 nights. Corporate account, V. Lang. I didn't say anything. I just stood there in our bedroom, holding her tablet, feeling something cold settle into my chest like ice forming on a lake. I have to get to the office, Julia says, standing up. She's wearing a dress that probably costs more than my first car. Big presentation today. With Victor? I ask. She pauses. With the executive team. Victor will be there, yes. Tell him I said hi. Don't be childish, Dan. She leaves without kissing me goodbye. That used to be our thing. Kiss goodbye every morning, even if we were fighting. Especially if we were fighting. Now she just walks out, her heels clicking on the hardwood floor we installed together 5 years ago, when we still had conversations that lasted more than 30 seconds. Ethan is watching me with that look again. You're being paranoid. Am I? Mom works hard. Maybe if you were more ambitious, you'd understand. He leaves too. I'm alone in the kitchen with cold coffee and the quiet hum of the refrigerator. I built my company, Mercer Systems, from nothing, from a maxed-out credit card and a rented server rack in a warehouse that flooded every spring. I spent 10 years writing code in the middle of the night, taking calls at 3 a.m. because a client's system crashed, missing birthdays and anniversaries and school plays because I was trying to build something that mattered. And I did. I built it. Mercer Systems handles back-end infrastructure for half the retail groups in the region. We're not glamorous. We don't get mentioned in Forbes articles about visionary leadership or disrupting the industry. We're the invisible backbone that keeps everything running while people like Victor Lang stand in front of cameras and take credit for innovation. My phone buzzes. Email from Leonard Hayes, board chairman of TierPoint Holdings, the parent company that owns Copley Retail Group. We've been in on and off negotiations for months. They want to acquire Mercer Systems, fold us into their infrastructure division. I've been dragging my feet, unsure if I want to give up control. The email is short. Still interested in discussing the restructure? The board is motivated. Call me. I stare at the message for a long time. Then I open my laptop and pull up our shared tablet's message history. I know I shouldn't. I know it's a violation of privacy and trust and all those things that good husbands aren't supposed to do. But I'm not feeling particularly good right now, and the ice in my chest is spreading. The messages are there, all of them, months of them. Victor. Loved your insights today. You're wasted in that role. Julia. Maybe I need someone who appreciates what I bring to the table. Victor. Dinner tomorrow? We should discuss your career trajectory. Julia. My husband thinks I'm at a networking event. Victor. You're trading up from the garage coder to the C-suite. Smart move. I close the laptop. I don't scream. I don't break anything. I just sit there in my kitchen, in the house I paid for with money I earned keeping Victor Lang's empire running, and I feel something fundamental shift inside me. I'm not hurt. Not anymore. I'm calculating. I pull up Leonard Hayes' email again and hit reply. Let's talk structure. I'm ready to commit. The live stream is crisp and professional. Victor Lang stands on a stage at the downtown convention center, speaking to a room full of investors and industry analysts. Behind him, a massive screen displays growth projections, market share statistics, and a glossy vision of the future of retail. Julia is in the front row. I can see her on the camera when it pans across the audience. She's wearing the dress from this morning. She's leaning forward, smiling, nodding at every word Victor says like he's delivering scripture instead of recycled McKinsey buzzwords. We're building an ecosystem, Victor says, his voice smooth and confident. An integrated experience that transforms how consumers engage with brands. In the bottom corner of the slide behind him, almost invisible, is the Mercer Systems logo. Small, discreet. The footnote that makes his entire presentation possible. I'm watching from my office, a modest building in an industrial park 30 miles from Victor's glass tower downtown. My empire consists of 3 floors of humming servers, a dozen employees who actually understand how infrastructure works, and a data center that keeps the lights on for companies that wouldn't exist without us. My CFO, Elliot Shore, knocks on my doorframe. He's 55, methodical, and the only person in this building who understands both code and contract law. You're watching the live stream, he says. Someone has to appreciate our work. He didn't mention us once. Of course not. We're not visionary. We're just the people who built the foundation his house sits on. Elliot sits down across from me. You replied to Leonard Hayes. I did. You've been avoiding that deal for 6 months. What changed? I close my laptop. I realized I was thinking too small. The equity swap structure they proposed, you understand what it means, right? If you accept those terms, you're not just selling the company. You're potentially acquiring controlling interest in the entire group structure. That's not a vendor relationship. That's ownership. I understand. Dan, if you do this, you're playing a very different game. Good, I say. I'm tired of playing small. Julia comes home at midnight. I'm in the living room, reading a book I'm not actually processing. She doesn't turn on the lights. She just kicks off her heels and drops her purse on the console table. You waited up, she says. Couldn't sleep. She sits down on the opposite end of the couch. The distance between us feels oceanic. How was the presentation? I ask. Successful. Victor was brilliant. I watched the live stream. Did you? Not a question. You looked engaged. I was engaged. It's my job to be engaged. Is that what we're calling it? She goes very still. What are you implying? Hotel charges on the credit card? Late night meetings? The way you look at him? You're being paranoid again. Am I? Yes, She stands up. You know what your problem is, Dan? You think everyone operates on your level, small, suspicious, limited. Maybe if you had more ambition, you'd understand that some relationships are professional. Professional. Yes? Right. Professional hotel stays. Her face hardens. I'm not doing this. I'm not defending myself to someone who's never understood what it takes to succeed in a competitive environment. I built a company from nothing, Julia. You built a service vendor. There's a difference. Is there? Victor is building an empire. You're maintaining servers. If you can't see the difference, that's your limitation, not mine. She walks toward the stairs. I stand up. Julia. She stops but doesn't turn around. If you want space, I say quietly. If you want out, just say it. Don't make me the villain because I'm not blind. She turns. Her face is cold. Maybe space is exactly what we need. Maybe if you evolved instead of wallowing in insecurity, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Evolved. Yes. The words hang in the air. Julia's face goes pale, then red. How dare you? She whispers. Hotel receipts, Julia. Messaging logs. I'm not an idiot. She walks back toward me, and for a second I think she might slap me. Instead, she leans in close, her voice low and venomous. You want to know the truth, Dan? Yes. I'm having an affair. And you know what? I don't feel guilty. Because he sees me. He values me. He doesn't treat me like some secretary from the old days who should be grateful for your scraps. I never treated you like that. You treated me like a footnote. Just like everyone treats you like a footnote. And I'm done being invisible. She goes upstairs. A few minutes later, Ethan appears in the hallway. He must have heard everything. Dad, he says. His voice is uncertain now, not cocky. Go to bed, Ethan. Is Mom? Go to bed. He disappears. I stand alone in my living room, in my house, with my life crumbling around me like poorly written code. I pull out my phone and text Leonard Hayes. Let's meet, soon as possible. I want to see the full structure. His reply comes 30 seconds later. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., the Metropolitan Club. Come alone. I sit back down on the couch and stare at the ceiling. Tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow, I stop being a footnote. The Metropolitan Club is old money and leather-bound silence. It's the kind of place where deals get made over scotch and handshakes, where the walls are lined with dark wood and the carpets absorb every sound. It smells like cigars and history and the quiet confidence of men who never have to prove anything. I don't belong here. That's the first thing I think when I walk in. I'm wearing a decent suit, not expensive, just decent, and the maitre d' looks at me like I'm lost. Daniel Mercer, I say, meeting Leonard Hayes. His expression shifts fractionally. Of course, Mr. Mercer. This way. Leonard is in a private room on the second floor. He's 70, lean, with the kind of face that's seen every negotiation tactic twice. He stands when I enter, shakes my hand firmly. Dan, glad you could make it. Thanks for the invitation. Sit, drink. Scotch, neat. He pours 2 glasses from a crystal decanter. We sit in leather chairs that probably cost more than my first office lease. Outside the window, the city spreads out in geometric patterns, buildings and streets and lives I'm not part of. You seem different, Leonard says. 6 months ago, you were hesitant. Now you're here. Things change. They do. He sips his scotch. Let's talk about structure. The board wants stability. Copley Retail Group is profitable, but fragile. Victor runs it like a personality cult. Everything flows through him. That's dangerous. Single point of failure, I say. Exactly. And you're the redundancy system. Except you're not redundant. You're foundational. We maintain their entire back-end infrastructure, I say. Payment processing, inventory management, supply chain logistics. If we go dark, they go dark. Which is why the board is interested in the equity swap. We want your company fully integrated, not as a vendor, but as the core operational entity. In exchange, you get shares in the restructured holding company. Controlling shares? Leonard smiles. Under certain conditions? Yes. What conditions? Emergency restructure. If the operational risk exceeds acceptable parameters, if, say, the current leadership makes decisions that jeopardize the core infrastructure, the board can invoke a predetermined restructure plan. That plan puts the infrastructure entity at the top of the chain. You become the controlling shareholder of the entire group. I take a slow sip of scotch. That's not an acquisition. That's a coup. It's a safety measure. Insurance. The board needs to know that if Victor plays cowboy and puts the empire at risk, we have a path to stability. And you think Victor might do that? Leonard looks at me over his glass. I think Victor is arrogant. I think he believes he's untouchable. And I think arrogant men make predictable mistakes when they feel threatened. You want me to threaten him. I want you to be ready. If he makes the wrong move, we need to act fast. The documents are already drafted. It's just a matter of signing and waiting for the trigger event. I lean back in the leather chair. The room is so quiet I can hear my own heartbeat. What's the trigger event? I ask. Contract termination without cause. Specifically, if Victor terminates your service contracts without providing adequate transition or redundancy planning. That would constitute operational negligence, breach of fiduciary duty. The board could invoke emergency measures to protect shareholder value. And I become the new owner. You become the solution to a problem Victor creates himself. I think about Julia's face last night, the contempt in her voice, the way she said Victor sees her, values her. Let's say I sign, I say. What happens to Victor? Depends on how badly he screws up. Minimum, he's removed as CEO, more likely. He's terminated for cause. Non-compete clauses kick in. He becomes radioactive in the industry. And his staff? Anyone implicated in negligent decision-making faces review. That includes executive assistants, PR leads, anyone in his inner circle. Julia. He means Julia. I need to think about it, I say. Don't think too long. The board is impatient. If you don't commit, we'll find another solution. And trust me, Dan, you're the best solution. You're the only one who understands the infrastructure well enough to run it. We finish our scotch in silence. When I stand to leave, Leonard walks me to the door. One more thing, he says. If Victor plays this wrong, if he lets his ego make decisions instead of his brain, you could end up owning his job, his office, his entire world. Let's give him the chance to screw up, I say. Leonard smiles. I like you, Dan. You're smarter than people think. I drive home through afternoon traffic, thinking about leverage and triggers and how fragile empires really are when you understand where the weak points hide. The gala is black tie and champagne. It's at the Grand Ballroom downtown, one of those events where people come to be seen more than to actually accomplish anything. Copley Retail Group is the main sponsor. Victor Lang is the keynote speaker. I'm here because Mercer Systems is listed as a technical partner. It's a small plaque near the registration desk, the kind of acknowledgement that makes us feel included while reminding us we're not important enough for the main stage. I watch from the back of the ballroom as Victor takes the podium. He's wearing a tuxedo that probably cost $5,000. His silver hair is perfect. His smile is practiced. He speaks with the casual authority of a man who's never been told no. Julia is 3 rows from the front. She's wearing a red dress I've never seen before. Probably new. Probably expensive. She's watching Victor with an expression I used to think was admiration, but now recognize as hunger. You built the infrastructure for this entire event, a voice says beside me. I turn. It's Marina Castellanos, HR director at Copley. We've met a few times at vendor meetings. She's smart, pragmatic, and one of the few people in Victor's orbit who seems capable of independent thought. Someone has to, I say. He didn't mention you once in his speech. I didn't expect him to. Marina sips her champagne. You know what the staff calls him? The peacock. All display, no substance. That's generous. She laughs quietly. There are rumors, you know, about him and certain members of his team. I've heard. I'm sure you have. Your wife is very visible in those rumors. I look at her. She's not being cruel, she's being factual. HR must be thrilling, I say. You'd be surprised what people say in exit interviews, and performance reviews, and late-night emails they think are private. Are you warning me or confiding in me? Both. Victor is vulnerable, Mr. Mercer, more than he realizes. And when vulnerable men make stupid decisions, the people around them get caught in the blast radius. She walks away before I can respond. I watch Victor finish his speech to enthusiastic applause. He steps off the stage and Julia is there immediately, leaning in close, saying something that makes him laugh. I finish my champagne and head for the parking garage. The garage is concrete and echoes. It's nearly empty. Most people are still inside, networking and pretending they care about retail innovation. I'm walking toward my car when I hear footsteps behind me. I turn. Victor and Julia are walking toward a black Mercedes parked 2 rows over. They're laughing. His hand is on her lower back. She's leaning into him. They see me at the same time. Victor stops. Julia's face drains of color. For a long moment, nobody moves. Then Victor smiles. It's not a friendly smile. It's the smile of a predator who's just realized the prey is smaller than expected. Dan, he says, didn't expect to see you here. Technical partner, I say. I build the systems you stand in front of. Right, the behind-the-scenes guy. He steps forward, one hand still possessively on Julia's back. We need to talk, actually, about those systems. Do we? I've been reviewing our vendor relationships. Your contracts come up for renewal next quarter. February, I say. Yes. I'm thinking we should explore other options, more modern solutions. You understand? Nothing personal, just business. Julia is watching both of us, her expression unreadable. Nothing personal, I repeat. You seem upset, Dan. Victor's smile widens. Is there something else bothering you? He's taunting me, standing in a parking garage with my wife on his arm, threatening my livelihood, and smiling like it's all a game. Something cold and sharp crystallizes in my chest. You know what's funny, Victor? I say, stepping closer. You think you're untouchable. You think because you have the title and the stage and the expensive suits that you understand how things really work. But you don't. Is that right? You don't know where the power is. You think it's in the boardroom, in the speeches, but it's not. It's in the infrastructure, in the systems you don't understand and can't replicate. It's in the people you treat like footnotes. Victor's smile fades slightly. Are you threatening me? I'm educating you. He steps forward and shoves me, not hard, but hard enough to make a point. His hand hits my chest. Listen carefully, you little... I slap him. It's not a dramatic wind-up. It's fast and sharp, the kind of hit that stings more than injures. His head snaps to the side, his hand goes to his cheek. Julia gasps. Victor stares at me, shock replacing arrogance. You just assaulted me. I corrected you. I'll have you arrested. I step back, pull my keys out, and walk to my car. As I pass Victor's Mercedes, I drag my keys along the passenger side door, not slowly, not deliberately, just a quick scrape that leaves a bright silver line in the black paint. Julia calls after me, but I don't turn around. I get in my car and drive away, leaving them standing there in the concrete silence. Victor's voice echoes through the garage behind me. You're finished. I'm terminating every contract you have with us, you hear me? Every single contract. I smile in my rearview mirror. Perfect. The email arrives at 9 a.m. the next Monday. It's formal, corporate, and dripping with legal language. The subject line, Notice of Contract Termination, Mercer Systems. I read it twice. Elliot reads it 3 times. He actually did it, Elliot says, sitting across from my desk. He terminated every contract, effective immediately, for cause, citing your unprofessional conduct and aggressive behavior. Aggressive behavior, I say. That's one way to describe it. Dan, this is half our revenue. If we don't have the Copley contracts, we have leverage. What leverage? He just fired us. I pull up the documents Leonard sent over last week, the restructure plan, the equity swap, the emergency trigger clause. Right here, I say, pointing to Section 12B. If the group terminates infrastructure contracts without providing reasonable transition planning or redundancy solutions, it constitutes operational risk. The board can invoke emergency measures to protect shareholder value. Elliot reads the clause, then reads it again. He terminated without transition planning, Elliot says slowly. He terminated out of spite, in a parking garage, after I insulted him. You slapped him. That too. Elliot leans back in his chair. He just handed you the company. He handed me the trigger. The board still has to vote. They'll vote. Leonard Hayes has been waiting for this. Victor just gave him the excuse. My phone rings. It's Julia. I decline the call. 10 seconds later, a text. We need to talk. I don't respond. Ethan calls an hour later. Dad, what did you do? What do you mean? Mom is freaking out. She says you assaulted her boss. Is that true? I slapped him. You... Ethan's voice cracks. Dad, are you insane? He's going to destroy you. He already canceled all your contracts. I know. So what are you going to do? File for bankruptcy, probably. Close the company. Start over. Silence on the other end. Are you serious? Ethan finally asks. Completely. Dad, he struggles for words. Look, I know I said some things about you being small time, but I didn't want this. It's okay, Ethan. It's not okay. Mom is saying you destroyed everything because of your ego, that you couldn't handle her success. Maybe she's right. She's not right. He stops. She's having an affair, isn't she? It's not a question. Yes, I say. And you knew? I knew. Another long silence. I'm sorry, Ethan says quietly. I'm sorry I said those things, about him being in a different league. He is in a different league, Ethan. He owns my competitors. I hang up before he can respond. Marina calls that afternoon. I heard about the termination. News travels fast. Victor is bragging about it. He thinks he won. Did he? That depends. I got a strange email this morning from TierPoint Holdings legal team. They're asking for documentation of all vendor terminations in the last quarter. Specifically, they want to know if proper transition protocols were followed. That is strange. It's standard procedure before a board meeting. There's one scheduled for Friday. I didn't know that. Victor doesn't either. He thinks this is over. He thinks you're finished. Why are you telling me this, Marina? Because I've worked in HR for 20 years, Mr. Mercer, and I know what happens when arrogant men confuse power with competence. They make messes that other people have to clean up. I'm tired of cleaning up messes. She hangs up. Elliot pokes his head in. Leonard Hayes on line 2. I pick up. Leonard, I heard about the termination. I'm sorry, Dan. Don't be. It was predictable. The board is meeting Friday. We'll be reviewing the operational risk assessment. I think you should be ready to present the restructure solution. You want me at the meeting? I want you ready to step in. If the board invokes emergency measures, and I think they will, we'll need someone who can take control immediately. What about Victor? What about him? He made a unilateral decision to terminate critical infrastructure contracts without board approval or transition planning. That's negligence, possibly breach of fiduciary duty. He's done, Dan. He just doesn't know it yet. I lean back in my chair. What should I prepare? A presentation. Keep it simple. Infrastructure status, transition requirements, timeline for restoring stability. Make it clear that you're the only viable solution. And Julia? Leonard pauses. Your wife? She's on his executive team. If he goes down, anyone implicated in operational negligence will face review. That includes his inner circle. I can't make exceptions, Dan. Even for you. I'm not asking for exceptions. Good. Because if you're going to do this, you need to be clear-eyed. This isn't about revenge. It's about competence. The board needs to believe you're stable, rational, and capable of running a multi-billion-dollar operation. Can you be that person? I think about Julia's face in the parking garage, the contempt in her voice, the way she chose Victor over me, over us, over everything we built. Yes, I say, I can be that person. Then I'll see you Friday. Ethan shows up at my office Thursday night. I'm the only one still here, working on the presentation for tomorrow's board meeting. He looks tired, young, uncertain. Dad, he says from the doorway. Ethan, what are you doing here? I needed to talk to you, away from Mom. I gesture to the chair across from my desk. He sits down, fidgeting with his phone. She's scared, he says. I've never seen her like this. She won't tell me what's happening, but she's packing suitcases. She's been on the phone with lawyers. She should be scared. Dad, what's going on? What did you do? I save my presentation and turn the screen so he can see it. Tomorrow morning, TierPoint Holdings board is meeting to discuss operational risk at Copley Retail Group. They're going to review Victor's decision to terminate our contracts, and they're going to vote on a restructure plan. What kind of restructure? The kind where I become the new controlling owner of the entire company. Ethan stares at the screen, then at me. That's impossible. It's contractual. Leonard Hayes has been planning this for months. Victor just gave him the excuse to execute. So you're taking over the company, Mom's company. Victor's company. Mom just works there. And what happens to her? I meet his eyes. That depends on the board. If she's implicated in Victor's decisions, if they determine she had knowledge of his negligence or participated in it, she could be terminated, possibly blacklisted. She's your wife. She was my wife. Now she's the woman who chose Victor Lang over me, over us, over everything. Ethan looks down at his hands. I said terrible things to you. You did. I'm sorry. I don't know what I thought. That success meant something different, that Mom was right about you being small time. Maybe I am small time. You're about to own a multi-billion-dollar company, Dad. That's not small time. Success isn't about size, Ethan. It's about leverage, understanding systems, knowing where the weak points are and being patient enough to wait for the right moment to apply pressure. He looks up at me. You planned this. I reacted. There's a difference. Did you slap him because you knew he'd fire you? I lean back in my chair. That's the question, isn't it? Did I lose control, or did I create a situation where Victor would make the exact mistake I needed him to make? I slapped him because he deserved it, I say. Everything else was just probability. Ethan is quiet for a long time. What should I do? He finally asks. Tomorrow, when the news breaks, you're going to have to make a choice. You can stand with your mother, or you can stand with me. I'm not going to tell you which is right. She's my mom. I know. But you're my dad. I know that too. He stands up, still uncertain. Can I watch? The board meeting? It's not open to the public. But you'll tell me what happens? You'll know what happens. Everyone will. He leaves. I go back to my presentation, refining the numbers, making sure every slide is clean and professional and impossible to argue with. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzes. Text from Julia. Please, we need to talk. Before tomorrow. I don't respond. At 3 a.m., another text. Dan, I'm begging you. Don't do this. I turn off my phone and go back to work. The TierPoint Holdings boardroom is on the 42nd floor of a glass tower that makes Victor's building look modest. The walls are floor-to-ceiling windows. The table is solid mahogany. There are 12 chairs and everyone is filled. I'm sitting at the far end, next to Leonard Hayes. I'm wearing my best suit, not expensive, just professional. And I have my laptop and a leather portfolio that Elliot picked out because he said I needed to look serious. Victor is sitting across from me. He looks confident, relaxed. He doesn't know what's coming. The board chairman, Thomas Rourke, 73, former CEO of 3 Fortune 500 companies, calls the meeting to order at 9 a.m. sharp. Agenda Item 1, Rourke says. Operational risk assessment following vendor termination. Leonard, you have the floor. Leonard stands. He clicks to the first slide of his presentation. It's a simple org chart showing Copley Retail Group's operational dependencies. As of Monday morning, Leonard says, Copley Retail Group terminated all service contracts with Mercer Systems, effective immediately. Mercer Systems manages point-of-sale infrastructure, inventory systems, supply chain logistics, and payment processing for the entire retail network. The termination was executed without board approval and without transition planning. Victor leans forward. I had operational authority to make that decision. You had authority to terminate vendors, Rourke says, not to create systemic operational risk. There's no risk. We can transition to alternative vendors within 60 days. Can you? Leonard clicks to the next slide. It shows system outages at 12 Copley locations in the past week. These crashes started Tuesday, 4 more yesterday. The alternative vendors you mentioned can't replicate Mercer's architecture. It's custom-built, proprietary, and critical. Victor's confidence flickers. We're working on solutions. You're working on solutions to a problem you created. Leonard clicks to another slide. It's a financial projection showing revenue loss. If this continues for 30 days, we're looking at $40 million in lost sales. 60 days, we're talking about systemic failure. That's worst case, Victor says. That's reality. Leonard looks at the board. Victor terminated these contracts because of a personal dispute, not an operational decision, a personal grudge. That's not. You terminated them in a parking garage, after a gala, at midnight, while in the company of a married subordinate employee. Leonard's voice is flat, factual. HR has documentation. Victor's face goes pale. The board members are staring at him. The question before this board, Leonard continues, is simple. Do we allow operational risk to escalate while Victor explores alternatives, or do we invoke emergency measures to restore stability? What emergency measures? Rourke asks. 6 months ago, we discussed a restructure plan, an equity swap that would integrate Mercer Systems into TierPoint Holdings as a core operational subsidiary. That plan includes provisions for emergency implementation if certain trigger conditions are met. Leonard clicks to the final slide. It's the contract I signed last week. Unplanned termination of critical infrastructure contracts constitutes a trigger condition. The room is very quiet. Victor is staring at the slide. What is this? Insurance, Leonard says. The board approved this months ago as a contingency plan. I never saw this. You didn't need to. It was a holding company decision. Leonard looks at me. Mr. Mercer, can you walk us through the integration timeline? I stand up. My hands are steady. My voice is calm. Mercer Systems can restore full operational capacity within 48 hours, I say. We maintained backup infrastructure when the contracts were terminated. It's inactive but functional. Once we're reintegrated, we can stabilize all systems and prevent further outages. And the long-term structure? Rourke asks. The equity swap puts Mercer Systems at the center of a new holding entity. TierPoint Holdings retains majority board seats. I assume operational control of the infrastructure division and day-to-day management of the retail group. You become CEO, Victor says. His voice is hollow. I become the person responsible for keeping your empire running, I say, like I always have been. Rourke looks around the table. Discussion? One of the board members, Patricia Emerson, former CFO of a tech conglomerate, raises her hand. What happens to current leadership? Victor's termination is at the board's discretion, Leonard says. But given the circumstances, the negligent decision-making, the personal conflict of interest, the operational risk he created, I recommend immediate removal. Seconded, another board member says. Victor stands up. You can't do this. We can, Rourke says, and we are. All in favor of implementing the emergency restructure and appointing Daniel Mercer as interim CEO of Copley Retail Group? 11 hands go up. Motion carries. Victor, you're relieved of your duties effective immediately. HR will coordinate your exit and severance package. Victor looks around the room. His face is red. His hands are shaking. This is illegal. I'll sue. You'll lose, Leonard says. Your termination is for cause. Breach of fiduciary duty. There's no golden parachute for negligence. Victor looks at me. Really looks at me for the first time. And I see the exact moment he understands what just happened. You planned this, he whispers. No, I say. You created this. I just made sure the board had a solution ready when you did. Rourke stands. Meeting adjourned. Mr. Mercer, welcome to TierPoint Holdings. We'll have a press conference at 2 p.m. to announce the leadership transition. The board members file out. Victor doesn't move. He's still staring at me. You ruined me, he says. No, I say again. I just stopped propping you up. Leonard pats my shoulder. Welcome to the C-suite, Dan. Try not to screw it up. I walk out of the boardroom and take the elevator down to the lobby. My phone has 43 missed calls, 15 from Julia, 10 from Ethan, the rest from reporters and business analysts who somehow already know. I text Ethan, it's done. His reply comes immediately. Holy shit, Dad. I don't text Julia back. I walk out of the building into the cold November morning. There are already camera crews setting up outside. Financial journalists with microphones. Someone recognizes me. Mr. Mercer, can you confirm the rumors? Are you the new owner of Copley Retail Group? I don't answer. I just walk to my car and drive back to my office. This is what it feels like, I think, to be in a different league. The garage confrontation with Ethan happens Sunday afternoon. I'm loading files into my car, taking work home for the weekend because apparently that's my life now, when I hear footsteps. I turn. Ethan is walking toward me. His face is hard, determined. Dad. Ethan, I thought you weren't talking to me. I'm not. This isn't a conversation. This is a statement. Okay. You're a coward. I close my car trunk. If that's your statement, you should work on your opening line. I'm serious. You're hiding behind rules and policies and corporate structures because you're too afraid to admit you're hurt. I'm not hiding. Yes, you are. You're pretending this is about accountability, about principles, but it's not. It's about revenge. You're destroying Mom because she hurt your ego. She didn't hurt my ego. She betrayed our family. So you betrayed her back, and you're calling it justice. I'm calling it consequences. No, Dad. You're calling it consequences because that sounds better than admitting you're being cruel. Maybe I am being cruel. Maybe that's what happens when you're tired of being kind to people who exploit your kindness. Mom didn't exploit you. She used corporate resources to fund an affair. She gaslit me for months. She called me small time while standing on the foundation I built. That's exploitation. She made mistakes. She made choices, and now she gets to live with them. Ethan steps closer. His fists are clenched. You used to be a good person. I still am. I'm just not a doormat anymore. There's a difference between standing up for yourself and destroying someone. Is there? Because from where I'm standing, destroying someone is just what happens when you finally stop absorbing their abuse. You're not the victim here, Dad. Neither is she. She's the consequence of her own choices. So what am I? Am I a consequence too? I stop. Look at my son. Really look at him. He's crying. Not loudly. Just tears running down his face. You're my son, I say quietly. You're not a consequence. You're the one thing that still matters. Then act like it. Stop this war. Settle with Mom. Let her rebuild her life. I can't. Why not? Because if I do, I'm teaching you that betrayal is acceptable, that powerful people don't face consequences, that love means absorbing punishment forever. You're not teaching me anything. You're just hurting people. Sometimes hurt is the only lesson that sticks. Ethan wipes his face. I'm done, Dad. I'm done watching you become someone I don't recognize. I'm done choosing sides. I'm just done. He turns and walks away. I stand alone in the parking garage, surrounded by concrete and echoes and the ghost of who I used to be. My phone rings. Leonard Hayes. Dan, we need to talk. Now, my office. It's Sunday. I don't care. Get here in 30 minutes. He hangs up. I get in my car and drive. Leonard's office is dark except for one desk lamp. He's sitting behind his desk, looking older and more tired than I've ever seen him. Sit, he says. I sit. The board voted, he says. You're out. I blink. What? They voted. 8-4. You're removed as CEO effective Monday. On what grounds? Conduct unbecoming. Creating a hostile work environment. Failure to manage personal conflicts appropriately. That's bullshit. Maybe, but it's also reality. The lawsuit, the publicity, the drama. It's too much. The board needs stability and you're the opposite of stable right now. I lean back in the chair. So that's it. I win the company and lose it in 6 weeks. You didn't lose it. You threw it away. Because you couldn't let go of your anger. I wasn't angry. I was right. Being right doesn't matter if you're alone, Dan. I'd rather be right and alone than wrong and surrounded by people who betrayed me. Leonard shakes his head. You're impossible. You know that? I've been told. What are you going to do now? I don't know. Go back to running Mercer Systems, I guess. Build infrastructure for people who'll take credit for it. You could fight the board decision. What's the point? You said it yourself. I'm impossible. Maybe they're right to get rid of me. You're not impossible. You're just wounded. And wounded people make terrible leaders because they can't see past their pain. Then I guess I'm exactly where I deserve to be. I stand to leave. Dan, Leonard says, for what it's worth, I voted to keep you. I think you're brilliant. I think you did the right thing holding Julia accountable. But I also think you let it consume you. You became the thing you were fighting against. What does that mean? You became someone who uses power to hurt people, just like Victor, just like Julia. You're not better than them anymore. You're just better positioned. I walk out without responding. The final confrontation happens in the parking garage on Monday night. I'm cleaning out my office, 6 weeks of CEO, and I'm back to being nobody, when Grace calls. Mr. Mercer, there's a situation, parking sublevel 3. What kind of situation? Julia is here. She's at your car, security is with her, but she's refusing to leave until she talks to you. I take the elevator down. Julia is standing next to my car, flanked by 2 security guards. She's wearing a simple dress, no makeup. Her hair is pulled back. She looks exhausted. Julia, I say. Dan. Her voice is hoarse. Thank you for seeing me. I didn't have a choice. You're trespassing. I know. I just needed to talk to you, face to face, before everything ends. Everything already ended. I know. I heard about the board vote. I'm sorry. Are you? Because you're the reason they voted me out. I didn't want this. You filed a $10 million lawsuit. What did you think would happen? I thought you'd settle. I thought you'd realize this was destroying both of us and just stop. I don't stop, Julia. That's what you never understood. When I commit to something, I see it through. Even if it costs you everything? Even then. She steps closer. The security guards tense, but don't intervene. I came to drop the lawsuit, she says. What? I'm dropping it. All of it. The wrongful termination claim, the hostile environment claim, everything. Why? Because I'm tired, Dan. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of lawyers and headlines and watching our son torn apart. I'm just tired. What do you want in exchange? Nothing. Just for this to be over. I stare at her. You're serious. Completely. No settlement? No severance? I don't want your money. I don't want anything from you. Then what do you want? She looks at me with something like sadness, or maybe pity. I want you to be happy, Dan. I want you to find whatever it is you're looking for, because revenge isn't it. I wasn't looking for revenge. Yes, you were, and you got it. You destroyed Victor. You destroyed me. You even destroyed yourself. Congratulations. You won. I didn't win anything. Exactly. She turns to leave, then stops. Ethan asked me to give you something. She hands me an envelope. Inside is a letter in Ethan's handwriting. What is this? Read it when you're ready, or don't. It's your choice. She walks away. The security guards follow her to make sure she actually leaves. I'm alone in the garage with the envelope. I open it. Dad, I don't know how to talk to you anymore. Everything I say makes things worse. So I'm writing this instead. I love you. I've always loved you, but I don't like who you've become. You used to be the person who fixed things, who built things, who held our family together even when it was hard. Now you're the person who destroys things, who tears down anyone who hurts you, who uses power like a weapon instead of a tool. I get why you're angry. I get why you feel betrayed. But Dad, you didn't just punish Mom. You didn't just punish Victor. You punished everyone who cares about you by becoming someone we don't recognize. I'm not asking you to forgive Mom. I'm not asking you to forget what happened. I'm just asking you to stop, to let go, to find a way to be the person I remember instead of the person you've become. I'll always be your son. But right now, I can't be around you. Not until you figure out who you want to be when the anger runs out. I hope you find your way back. Love, Ethan. I fold the letter and put it in my pocket. I stand in the empty garage, surrounded by concrete and echoes and the weight of everything I've destroyed. My phone buzzes. Text from Leonard. Board meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Come ready to say goodbye. I get in my car. I drive. I don't know where I'm going. I just drive through the city, past the glass towers and the old neighborhoods and the places where I used to think I belonged. At a red light, I pull out Ethan's letter and read it again. Find your way back. I don't know if there is a way back. I don't know if the person I was still exists, or if revenge burned him away completely. But I know one thing. I know that I stood up. I stopped being invisible. I stopped absorbing everyone's betrayal and calling it love. And if that makes me a monster, if that makes me cruel, if that costs me everything, maybe it was worth it. Or maybe Leonard was right. Maybe I just became the thing I was fighting. I don't know. I just know that I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry I slapped Victor in the parking garage. I'm not sorry I took his company. I'm not sorry I held Julia accountable. I'm not sorry I stopped being a footnote. The light turns green. I drive on.